live.
Thank you. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you stand in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene, the exquisite sound of Jules and Father Belmont find themselves standing outside Carpe Infernum, a mere handful of minutes after they parted company with Master Gravedigger and his ilk. The night is cold. It's just coming up to 2:30 in the evening. You're standing in Temple Bar, well known for its large plazas and pedestrian streets, and the wind whips around you. You feel the chill. You blow into your hands. Perhaps it provides some respite from it. It ruffles your clothing, casting it this way and that. And we'll begin from there.
Jewel will clear her throat and turn to Zach and say, Father Belmont, whatever support I can give you, all you need to do is ask and you have it.
He will incline his head slightly and say, I suppose there is one thing that...
At this point, you will both become aware Carpe Infernum abuts a large public square, in the center of which there is a large public square that is cobbled, that is pleasant for foot traffic, but would be utterly impossible to be traversed by cars. You become aware of the song that is sung, or the music that is created from violins, and you see a single pinprick of light that looks like a candle in the center of the square proper, set about set about 4.5 feet off the ground or so, just kind of sitting there, and you hear violins coming from that general direction.
Zach's gonna go towards it.
Jewel will follow.
Okay. As you walk further, your eyes able to adjust to the darkness, you will see a single, relatively large table that is covered in a red silk table mat, upon which there burns a single candle. The table is set for dinner, and there is a figure seated at one end of the circular table. Facing you, there are two other place settings and two plates that have, they're called Bebel Didon, which are the coverings, the metal coverings over them that you often see in old movies. And there's a decanter of wine and glasses on the table. The figure will smile as you approach. The immediate thing you will notice is the fact his eyes. It's a young man, probably you guess about 19, 20. Rather haphazard appearance. You can see the fact that under the exquisite suit that he's wearing, he's incredibly thin. In this dim light, you can't tell if those are drag marks that trace their way up and down his arm, but it could be a shadow. The one thing you will notice, however, is his eyes are jet black. Father Belmont, it is so agreeable to see you again.
And you as well, Faust.
My apologies. The exquisite sound of Jules. What an interesting, intoxicating name. It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And it is a pleasure to meet you as well.
Oh, please. I'm merely a humble facilitator. Won't you join me please.
Jewel will sit.
Okay.
Say, of course.
Does Zach also plonk his ass?
Yeah.
Faust will stand up from where he is seated, and he will open the crystal decanter before he pours wine into both glasses. It is a deep red burgundy that has woody and fruity overcurrents, quite delicious. And he will say, I do hope you don't mind, but I've taken the liberty of preparing something to sate your appetites. Please. He'll gesture towards the food. Because you can smell food now. It's just hidden by the metal coverings.
Zach will carefully open his up, I suppose, and see how this goes.
Okay.
What is Carpe Infernum?
Gravediggers Club.
It's a nightclub?
Yeah, it was where all the mages were last night doing things.
No.
Just for the record, as you raise the metal of the over the plates, you will find beneath. I'm going to phrase this very specifically. Okay, in Zach's case, and I'm going to go to Jewel after this, what is Zach's favorite meal? Not just his favorite meal, but the way it was prepared that meant the most to him. This could be something like your mother's cooking, things that really strike a nerve with you, a meal that either encouraged great emotion, was there at a pivotal moment of your life, or something that would make you feel a given emotion. What meal would that be for Zach?
Okay, hold on. If my computer would work, because I have it somewhere, because I wrote this down. Okay. Cinnamon apple Bostock.
I beg your pardon?
Cinnamon apple Bostock. It's like a type of French toast. French toast.
And why is it important to him?
Because when he was upset, that's what his mom would make.
Okay, and it is just as your mother would make. You would swear it had just come from her own hands as it sits on the plate in front of you. Regardless how long ago it's been since their passing, it is exactly the same. Same question, Jewel. What food resonates most deeply with you and why?
There was a miso that her adopted mother used to make when she was sick.
Wonderful. You will find a bowl of it beneath the metal. Perfect. As if it had just been prepared for you when you had that stomach bug or when you had the flu. It would always make you feel better. You will then look and you will see the wine that Faust has poured. Even the glass will have changed. It will become the correct beverage to drink with what you are eating. So, for example, with the cinnamon apple toast, it will probably become a thick, creamy milk. almost a cream. And in the case of the miso, it will become a warmed and perfect sake. Once again, the glasses themselves will even be different, though the wine still sits decanted on the table. We shan't quibble, Father Belmont. After our last meeting, we're after all still friends, I would hope.
Of course, Faust.
Wonderful. Question, do both of you eat?
Zach's just kind of looking at it. On one hand,
I tell you what,
why
don't both of you make me an intelligence etiquette roll?
Yeah.
It would probably be good to eat it, but at the same time.
Intelligence etiquette.
Intelligence etiquette.
Sure, I have etiquette. Oh, no, I don't.
What could possibly go wrong?
I did not. Sorry, etiquette.
You can roll straight intelligence, then I think it's just at a +1 diff.
Yeah. Evan, could I roll intelligence spirit lore?
Not really. No. This is purely a human etiquette thing that that you have to try and quibble out. So if you don't have the skill, unfortunately, then you'll just have to roll up +1 diff.
Alrighty
So,
then. Wow.
And Zach does have etiquette, I believe.
Can't possibly go badly.
Just don't botch. I say hopefully. Okay. I'm just going to wait for Kim to roll, and then Sam, if you exist, I will give you the proverbial in.
Sweet.
No, Zach doesn't have etiquette, but
Holy crap! You don't have etiquette?
look, and
Bad priest.
fuck you.
Bad priest.
Bad priest. It's okay though. It's okay. Because Sam will just go, you know, it's okay, Daddy. Sam will make it all better.
Yes. I'll make you all look good by comparison.
You can make the roll at a +1 difficulty anyway, Kim.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I got one success, but that was a 1.
So did you fail? Okay. You haven't got a clue. For Jewel, with 2 successes, if he's going by the old rules of hospitality, he is essentially, you're not in his home per se, but you are in a place of his making. So he has offered you bread and salt, essentially, and maybe demons are bound by the old ways. I mean, he's openly been named Faust twice. So maybe these beings are bound by the old ways. So accepting his hospitality is good, whereas refusing it is an insult.
If no one else makes a move to be the first person to eat, then she will take her her spoon and just begin to eat the miso, and
cool.
Hope that there's no strings attached to it.
Nope. It is delicious miso soup, just as you remembered. When Belmont sees Jewel begin to eat, does Belmont reciprocate, or does he leave the food?
He'll just take a sip of the milk?
It's good milk. All right. In that case, for our intrepid hermetic, I'm going to do my ancient and honorable power of GM Handwavium because it is the most powerful element.
Huzzah!
You will have been in Carpe Infernum as it is a nightclub because #nightclub. As you leave, you will describe. Carpe Infernum is set in Temple Bar, which is a large pedestrianized area with cobblestones. Carpe Infernum leaves onto a large square that is itself entirely cobbled for pedestrianized usage. You will see a really odd scene in the center of the square that everyone around you seems to be purposefully ignoring, in the sense that you don't get the impression they can see it, because it is rather odd. You see a cafe-style table that has been set up fully for dinner, including a silver, the silver.
The cloche.
Beg your pardon?
Cloche.
Yeah, no, not the cloche. It's not the cloche. I was talking about silver candlesticks. Thank you.
Oh.
But everyone seems to be purposefully ignoring it because people are filing out of the nightclub.
I have to ask because it's relevant for me, but this is in the real world and not dreaming, right?
Yes.
Because my character can't turn that off. So it's hard to distinguish reality. There are overlapping realities always.
But that is what you will see.
Rory sachets out of the club. He's got a. I'm sorry, Evan, just because I've actually been writing this, so this is actually, it's not deliberate for the scene. He's got a white, like a long sleeve white shirt on, like a grandfather shirt, sort of, and he's got a kilt on as well, and some rather high boots as well. He kind of walks over to the table.
You will see, if you have ever met either of the mages here, you will see them. You will also see a young man, he looks to be about 20 years old, in an incredibly well-tailored suit. I mean, when I say Sam, he's wearing a $10,000 suit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
However, he looks like he's wrong for the suit, though, in the sense that, like, you see under the suit, he almost looks anorexically thin, and you would swear that there were track marks running up and down his arms, and his eyes are pitch jet, 100%, no white, black.
That seems worrisome. And just trying to think what
it is up to you.
I
was going to say, it's up to you if you wish to interpose yourself into their conversation as they are having one.
Oh, he's definitely going to. He doesn't look fey, right?
He doesn't look what?
Does he look?
No, he most certainly doesn't.
None of this has anything to do with changeling.
I know. I just ask always.
But the entity is speaking to them in a very calm voice. However, you will notice this. They won't. Actually, yeah, no. You will notice this. He's using. How to describe it? You can't actually hear him when he's talking. They can, clearly, as they react to him, but from your distance away, even though you can hear them respond to him, you can't hear a word he's saying. Like the words don't exist.
Like he's speaking directly to their minds.
No, his lips are moving, but you can't hear him.
Interesting.
Anyway, as you decide how you wish to interpose yourself, he will say, I was made aware that you wished to speak to me. Well, rather, it was fated that you would wish to speak to me. So I made myself available. And seeing the loveliness of Miss Jewel, well, I am pleased that I did so.
You flatter me with your compliments.
Now, Father, I do hope you're enjoying my gift.
Yes, of course. It was intriguing to get open, to say the least.
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, I was unable to claim my payment as there was interference. But unfortunately, the interference came before I could give you the key to the lock.
Of course. Thankfully, we were still able to get it open.
One assumes that you were utterly oblivious to any other entities who may have deigned to protect you.
He'll kind of arch an eyebrow at that.
I'm merely saying that you didn't make a deal with me in bad faith, knowing that I could not collect.
Of course not. I always go through with my deals.
Yes. So, I'm intrigued. I know that you wish to speak to me in this place. However, as fate itself has become complicated, I don't know why you wish to speak to me. But, as I've said, I've made myself available just because you wanted a word. Had to clear my schedule and everything.
And I thank you for your kindness in that.
Am I not infinitely kind and merciful?
Zach's just going to smile at that.
As he opens his mouth properly, as he hasn't eaten anything from his own plate, he will very casually lift the cover from it. And you will see on his plate, you know, you might think that there would be everything of a horrible, horrible nature in there, but no, you just see a bowl of chowder, like seafood chowder. It's just entirely mundane. And he will lift his spoon, and he will take a spoon of it, and he will open his mouth to eat it. You will notice, however, as he opens his mouth, there are dozens probably, of tiny, almost anthropomorphic babies, like made of shadow, that lunge out of his mouth and start clawing at the air before he takes the spoonful and closes his mouth again. Now, what is it I can do to help?
No doubt you know the weapon that was in the box. Do you have any idea how to better properly use it?
He will casually turn his head, and his eyes will look at Rory, acknowledging the fact, yes, I know you're there, before he will casually turn back to the table. And he will say, I was there when it was forged. I was there when it was used. I was there when its wielder fell from grace, and when we followed. There's nothing about the spear that I don't know.
Then you must know that. You must know the good that it can do. Presumably.
Yes, I do. He will contemplate for a moment and he'll say, but, therein lies the question. There is always a price to miracles. I don't know if you know that, Father Belmont, do you?
No, I know very well that there is a price.
He will once again take another spoonful of chowder. There will be the clawing and retching of these. For the record, if you wish to make me an intelligence occult roll, you can, or an intelligence hashtag applicable lore, if anyone has any. Spirit lore would now be applicable. Demon lore would also be applicable.
High Umbra lore?
They're not really high umbral beings anymore. Oh, yeah, you can roll high umbral lore. It'll just be a difficulty 8.
I could also just roll a cult.
Okay. I'll roll intelligence spirit lore then.
Cool. Spirit lore will be difficulty 7. Demon lore will be difficulty 6, and just an average occult roll will be difficulty 7 as well. Thank you.
Willpower.
Oh, okay.
And we'll also spend a point of willpower for this.
4 successes. Wow.
Okay.
Whoa, 3 successes.
Okay. I'm just waiting on Kim.
4 successes with the demon lore.
Okay. 3 successes on spirit lore. He has, those are literal, well, you would think of them as wraiths or spirits bound inside him that are desperately trying to escape and physically can't. Kim, those are the souls that, those are you don't obviously know if they are all of, but they are some of the souls that Faust has claimed and that are his property now. And Sam, those are clearly spirits that have been bound into the body in one form or another.
Do I know what he is?
No. You could walk up and ask him.
I'm seriously considering it. However, I'm going to take a harp off my back. It's an electric harp, actually. And I'm going to add thematic mood music to everything. Very quietly.
Okay. Faust will look at Belmont and he'll say, do you know what it is that Lothriani Senvenarek, Tenri Amander, Adrotsenavar Eshtenamanoth, Kedriam Ater Anya Nom, did for the world? America, does Belmont speak Enochian?
Yes.
Divine light of the manifest God's will to lighten the darkness, with a panoply that will sit above us in reverence to He. It's an incredibly long name.
That's a long name, buddy.
He asked, basically, you can determine, he asked, do you know what the spear did?
Does that go? Is there something I can roll for that?
There's not really a. I mean, in theory, you could roll Demon Lord difficulty 8.
Jeez. I shall.
Beg your pardon?
I shall. We'll see how this goes.
You have no idea what it does.
Yeah. Zach will just shake his head.
He will say, a better question. He will say, you cannot see their faces now. A shame. That spear placed the stars in the sky. That was God's gift to Lucifer. For he was the morning star. So, that is what it did. That is what it did. You wish to know about it. I would ask, why?
No doubt you know of the Nafandi.
That is the reason I gave you the spear.
Of course. We are looking into other ways to defeat her. In a manner of speaking.
Driving that through her should obliterate her.
But don't kill her.
For the record, Sam, the first sound you will hear come out of Faust's mouth is the laughter that seems to ring around you. All of you feel dirty on the inside, like as if your soul is stained in filth as it laughs. It's a really feeling. He will regain his composure and he will say, so, you want her to find something? Is that it? Redemption?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
He will throw back his chair that will not actually be physically thrown back. It will rather disappear into vaporous darkness behind him as he looks up and he shouts into the sky in a Nokian that once again I think only the Belmont can hear because Sam is not close enough to physically hear it, even though he is shouting. He will shout, and you, God, you the hypocrite, will you allow this paltry child your loving embrace denied to so many? The knight doesn't answer. I gave you a weapon to strike her down and banish the threat that she posed, with her outsider master wishing to unweave all that was weaved. Before it becomes ours, our birthright, when we tear down his kingdom. So, you think to redeem the lost. That's a touching notion. And mayhaps you could. There is only one way to find out, however. He will point directly upwards and he'll say, you would have to draw his eye upon you.
No doubt she would have to face his judgment.
Yes, all fiery sword of it. You know, you possess a way to call for his judgment, but she would have to be willing, the girl, to accept it. There can be no forgiveness unless you ask for it. The smile becomes twisted. You'll start to see black corruption take over the lips and start to physically move in veins along his face until it becomes a blackened mask that looks like it is worm rotten. It almost looks like putrescent flesh. And he says, "You, Father Belmont, could draw his eye. And it's simple. Tell me come now, are you so incompetent? Do you not know how to do it?"
I know how. And
Oh, how is that?
simply pray. Hope he listens.
He will laugh again, and the same sickening feeling will wash over all of you. It's so powerful this time. You'll see people waiting outside the club for taxis will start to be violently ill, start to vomit onto the ground. Clearly, there's something in you that is stronger than they, because they start to pour vomit onto the ground. It's rather pathetic looking. No.
Can I try a magical effect?
What do you want to do?
I want to make the people feel better.
That's an awful lot of people.
Can I make them feel a little bit better?
The way you have to do it is you could use a life effect
That's what I was thinking.
in order to heal them, but you would have to add one success per person in question. It's up to you if you think it's worth it.
Sure.
Anyway. Okay. Bear in mind, it will also, basically every roll you make, the difficulty after the first will increase exponentially by 1. So
Okay.
the second roll will be +1 difficulty. The third roll will be +2. Sorry, yeah, the third one will be +2. The fourth one will be +4, etc.
Oh, it increases 1, 2, 4, then 8, I guess.
Well, no, it's 1, 2. It's 1. Then it's +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. My apologies.
Okay.
But he was saying, if you are willing to diminish the world, Father Belmont, you may draw his attention, and I'll give you this for free because I find it funny. There we go. He'll look at you and he'll say, "It's simple. You're pure of heart." Well, or as near as these feculent bags of meat can become. So what you do is get the girl to agree that she wishes God's judgment and break his gift to the Lightbringer. That will draw his gaze.
He thinks on that and we'll just kind of take another sip of the milk. And then he'll nod his head.
But
Okay.
in doing so, the world will be forever diminished for its lacking.
She should not suffer because of something that was forced upon her when she entered this new life. It was not her fault that her avatar was twisted the way that it was.
Oh, my. You are so simple creatures. Should I show you? Do you wish to understand Catherine Templehoff? That I can do.
I suppose then that would beg the question, what would it cost?
He will contemplate. He will look at Jewel and he will say, my price is simple. I will name your firstborn child. Simple. Eloquent.
That is your price?
There is a nod.
It is a price I will pay.
His hand will extend.
Jewel will extend her hand as well.
All right. The hands will shake. You'll feel a moment of burning pain on the back of your hand, and when he withdraws his hand, you'll see a small symbol in ash on the back of your hand that can easily be brushed off. Now then, shall we see? He'll snap his fingers, and the table that you're sitting on the chairs will kind of push you up so you're standing as opposed to sitting on them, and then they will all turn to black smoke. All right. And yeah, Sam, I'm going to take you on this wild roller coaster adventure too, because I can.
Sweet.
All right, so what happens is everything falls to nothing for a brief moment. And as a matter of fact, you are all... Sorry, give me just a moment. And as a matter of fact, you all feel as if you're being tugged this way and that, as if you are the plaything of some great unseen force, until you find yourself standing in a library. You see a girl, a rather beautiful child, about 13, who is working on mathematics. And there is an older man in the room with a bristly mustache, blonde hair. And when the girl presents him the work, he will tussle her hair approvingly and give her and sit her on his knee and tell her how proud he is of her. The image will then fall away as if to nothing, and you will see the same girl, though this time much older. She's now, you would say, in her 20s maybe, and you see her once again working on mathematics, but this time her face is streaked with tears, and you'll see her write in her diary, and there's never any sound whilst you see any of these images. It is just visual. You will see her write in her diary, "Why is it that I'm not good enough? Father is this great person. He's done so many wonderful things, and yet I can't even have the epiphany that will make me someone. Why am I no one? Why will I always be no one?" You will see her present her work to her father, who will look at it, and he will allow his glasses that he has to fall down his nose, and he will shake his head before throwing it away into the fire. clearly uncaring as to her effort. You will see him point at the door to leave, as you will see a number of other people enter the room, all younger than she is, all dressed in, the outlandish fashion that is so common among the Society of Aether proper. You will see her dismissed as if she's nothing. Then you'll see her crying alone in a room, in a four-poster bed. The sense of crushing loneliness is so palpable that it almost rips your own heart from your chest. This girl was abandoned by her father because she had never had her awakening, and he didn't value her as a person. He just saw her as a failure because he was great and powerful. For those of you who have learned anything of her backstory, as I know some of you have, Catherine Templehoff was the son of Chair. I believe his name was what was his name? Alexis, thank you. Of Alexis Templehoff, who was the former chair of studies of the Society of Aether, a famous Aetherite archmage in his own right before his passing. And you'll see her scream and cry.
This was the Smiling Jack woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will see her scream and cry, her eyes filled with bitter tears, and then in the darkness there is a shadow that moves. You see a mouth form from the shadow with gleaming white teeth. Not teeth of a predator, but human-like, and you will see it speak to her, though you cannot hear the words. At which point you will see the fact that it infuses her with this great power, and then you see her standing with her father as she presents him her work, and he beams with pride. He sees her as a person at last. However, you see the pain as her heart turns black. You see her tears freeze on her face. You see all that is her start to be drained away. You see her as a child once again, filled with life and filled with hope. And you see her sit with the Archbishop de Calvornay, and the Archbishop will tussle her hair as she will talk to him excitedly, and he will nod, clearly having some kind of conversation with her, before he will take her by the hand and walk with her to the confessional. You will then see a churchyard, an alien churchyard that you've never seen before, covered in snow. And you will see the Archbishop summoning a great pillar of light as he battles against the darkness, trying to banish it with all his might. And as her broken body falls, you see him bleed crimson on the ground from dozens of wounds, some deep enough to kill an ordinary man, were they not such a powerful mage in their own right. And then the only thing you will hear as he strokes her face, tears streaming down his own, is she will open her mouth, a single driblet of blood will fall to the side, and she will simply say, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." And then, with a crack flash, you will stand once again in the centre of the square in Dublin, though Faust is now nowhere to be seen.
Poor girl.
I'm not pregnant yet. I honestly have no idea.
What?
What? He said poor girl as in relation to the
Catherine.
girl whose life
sorry.
sign you just saw.
I heard boy or girl. I don't know why. Carry on. Then I opened my mouth.
So I'll just roll with it. sorry to hear that.
No, we're just going to forget that statement was a thing, Sam. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But Zach, this resonates very deeply with you because what has she said to you twice?
Yep.
At this point, the rain will start to fall.
So, back at that point, Bill probably just turn around and walk off because he's like, yeah. Actually, no, he'll kind of turn like he's about to head off. Then he will stop and look at Jewel and say, thank you.
You're welcome. But think nothing of it. I'm only doing my duty.
He'll incline his head slightly.
A tainted soul travels through the same cycle of life, death, and rebirth as everyone else. It carries that taint with it, unless some means of cleansing it can be found. If that soul possesses an avatar, it almost certainly cannot be cleansed, and it will simply become a problem further down the line for someone else. If we simply kill the body that possesses it, kill its vessel, and send it along the cycle. If we destroy it, that is a better solution, but it is a solution that is a very affront to the wheel. Fate has placed within your hands the tools necessary to cleanse this avatar possessing soul and restore it to the state it used to be in. It's my job to make sure you have whatever you need in order to be able to do that.
He will nod his head.
I realize our beliefs may clash from time to time. But as you said, differing beliefs don't prevent us from working together.
Who was that guy you were talking to before?
She'll look to she'll look to Father Bellhound to answer that question.
And Zach will just look over at the other dude and just kind of say, have we met before?
I don't know. Maybe? Rory? He gestures to himself. Pleasure to meet you. We haven't.
Zachariah Belmont. I am assuming you are
Sorry.
part of one of the traditions?
Oh, yeah. He gives a part of his shadow name. So, Rory. I actually, out of character, forget the name, but Order of Hermes.
Ah, wonderful. A hermetic. That was Faust, a demon.
I think he used to be a hermetic.
He is a demon.
If you want to roll intelligence, Order of Hermes lore, you can.
Yay. I'm pretty sure. Where are you, rolls? Why are you being difficult?
Because science.
Yes, clearly. I say. So. Okay. Can someone roll 3 dice for me, and I'll spend a willpower?
Sure, I'll do it.
Oh, Facebook sheriff was just.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Wow. Super botch?
Yes.
Thank God for that willpower.
I rolled 3 ones.
I spent 1 willpower, so it's only a failure.
Yeah, but damn.
Yeah.
Well, no, you spent 1 willpower, and we treat that like an automatic success here. Hashtag value for your willpower. Faust did something and is really hated by House Titalis. Like, Hornelli hated by House Titalis.
Yeah, that was my vague recollection. Talk
Yes.
to the apprentices. Something Faust bad, something infernalism, something bad. Titleist bearing the shame forever.
I mean, to be fair, it's House Titalis. They just bear the shame anyway.
Yes. Yeah. He lets. Oh. Seems like a creepy guy.
To a point, I suppose.
So.
So,
Hold on, it takes me a while to think. I'm not the best hermetic out there.
Zach's just gonna look over at Jewel and then just kind of give her the look of like, do you know this dude?
Jewel will simply say, "It's so nice to see you again, Rory. I don't think we've met since
We.
We had some combat training.
Oh yeah! You grew up in like the super ninja monastery. That's not ninja. I remember that.
Yes.
I thought I saw you at the not Griffith Club anymore. Club.
It's entirely possible you may have.
By the way, boys and girls, at this point you will start to hear very nice flute music walking down the street.
Ah, this guy.
He's lovely.
I do.
I'm
I
sorry.
like him.
I must break out the harp and accompany him.
You will see a Buddhist monk, very obviously kind of dressed in very shabby attire with a large rice hat covering most of his face, walking down the street. No one else appears to pay him any attention, and they will actively walk out of their way to avoid him, but will never look at him in the face as he makes his way.
High levels of arcane. Hello, high levels of arcane. I'm still playing music to accompany his flute.
That's fine. He will stop and he will replace his flute in his sleeve. And he will say, "So, now you've seen, or rather felt, what your eyes were blind." Oh, as he says that, you will notice his eyes are covered by black silk and he is obviously completely blind. He will say, "You have seen with your heart, Father Belmont, what your eyes were blind to see."
It seems so, yes.
He will nod his head rather sagely as he says, "I personally hope that there is a tomorrow after tomorrow, but we shall have to see."
I am certain there will be.
Ah, indeed. He'll look up and he'll say, "Are the stars beautiful tonight?"
There aren't any stars over Dublin currently.
That's not what I asked, Father Belmont.
They are. I just can't see them.
That is the correct answer. He will casually walk to Jewel and he will offer a deep, respectful bow.
She will return the bow. Forgive me for not properly introducing myself earlier.
No, it is quite fine. I was trying to teach a lesson whilst the blind... No, I was trying to teach a lesson from the blind whilst I was being shouted at by those who are even blinder than I.
I assume there is some irony there.
Will contemplate and he will say, "We must always pity those who believe that one path is correct above all others and who cannot even see the fact the road splits."
No, the road may split into, the road may split itself into many inevitabilities. I believe I see the path of fate. If not the path of fate, at least the one that I must walk.
I approve of this It is a good parable. Perhaps you know the story of Scorpion and Horse. Do you know this story?
I have heard a version of it, I believe. The Scorpion and the Frog.
No, that is Scorpion and Frog. This is Scorpion and Horse.
I do not believe I have heard that.
Horse frolicked in a field, and he danced this way and that. For after all, no one could hurt Horse. He was the mightiest, so swift. However, his brother Hawk had told him to be fearful of Scorpion, for Scorpion is always crafty. But Horse danced and frolicked while he may. So it was that about midday a creature appeared upon a rock, as Horse frolicked and played, and he greeted Horse. He said, "Hello there, you whose hair sparkles in the sunlight." And Horse looked down and greeted him in return and said, "Yes, my hair does sparkle, indeed so. It is good to meet you. I have never seen one of you before. What name do you have?" The creature contemplated, and he said, "I am Truth." The Horse then said, "I see, that is very interesting. I have not met Truth before, but it is very good to make your acquaintance. Though I ponder, could you maybe tell me where one may find Scorpion, as I have been told he is very dangerous and I should stay away from him?" Truth will say, "Ah, I of course know Scorpion. Why don't we go and find him together, and I can show you him, so you will always know who Scorpion is." The Horse replied that was an excellent idea, truly well thought out. And it was then that Truth suggested why not Horse allow him to ride upon his back? That way they would find Scorpion all the quicker. And Horse said, yes, that is an excellent idea, friend Truth, an excellent idea. So Horse allowed Truth upon his back. And so it was they dashed hither, dither, up and down, forward and yon, looking at many creatures and seeing many things, until Horse pondered to ask, "Friend Truth, how am I to know Scorpion in the event I see him?" And Truth says, "Well, Scorpion has 2 pincers." And Horse answers, "Ah, like yours, friend Truth." "Yes." "Then anything else?" "Yes," replied Truth. "He has many legs." "Oh," said Horse, "like yours?" "Yes," replied Truth. "Ah," said Horse. "Oh," replied Truth. "And there is one last thing." "Yes." "He has a tail that is tipped with death." Horse looked behind him and saw the tail of Truth and the weeping poison, and said, "Like yours, friend Truth?" "Yes," replied Scorpion. And Horse spoke no more.
Ever again, or just until the end of the ride?
He will turn and he will say, "That is for you to decide in your telling of the story."
I had 5 successes on music, by the way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
You sound pretty bitchin'.
Yes.
Thank you for the story, Shadow of the Nightingale.
And thank you, he will say, for listening to an old man prattle on.
You're welcome.
He will replace his flute to his lips, but before he walks away to continue his playing, he will say, Father Belmont, never allow your heart to be eclipsed by the music of the world or those around you, regardless how disharmonious they're playing. Always listen to that music.
He will nod his head. Thank you for your wisdom.
He will say, You will see me again before the night is over. There's still much to do.
Of course.
And on that note, boys and girls, we shall end our scene. Thank you, players, for doing the player thing. Thank you, watchers, if we ever have any, for doing the watch thing. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin, where YOLO.